Hello, and you're all very welcome along to the latest Champ.ie podcast, Ireland's premier horse racing podcast in association with Boylesports, Gorham Park, EJ Menswear, Shamrock Thoroughbreds, Midland Travel and McCafferty's traditional Irish bars.
They're coming to the final fence in the 25 Govs Tie Day. Nick Rocket lands in the lead from Velvet Elvis, gone well clear of Favori de Shondu and Bushman's Pass. They're well strung out. Nick Rocket on the stand side for win number 10 in the race for Willie Mullins.
Enter our Champ.ie headline competition in association with Midland Travel, where you could win a trip for two to the Cheltenham Festival 2026. For a chance to win, simply subscribe to the Champ.ie podcast on YouTube if you haven't already, and scan the QR code to enter your competition details today. We look forward to discussing your weekly #5cast selections in the comment section below. Hello, and you're all very welcome along to Season 7, Episode 29 of the Champ.ie Horse Racing Podcast in association with Gorham Park, Boylesports, EJ Menswear, Shamrock Thoroughbreds, McCafferty's Irish Bars and Midland Travel. Well, we're heading into Grand National season, and we kick it all off with the biggest of them all, the Boylesports Irish Grand National weekend at Fairyhouse. And to cover off this week's 5 races that we're going to look at, we're going to tell you firstly what's coming up in this week's show. We've got the 5cast preview with Barry and Brian in a moment. We've our very special guest, Colm Murphy, this week. We look exclusively at the Boylesports Irish Grand National on Monday, Easter Monday. Shamrock Thoroughbreds, of course, Stephen Thorne taking a number of runners across the Irish Sea for finals day on Good Friday. Well, as I've mentioned, I'm joined by two very special guests today to look ahead to the Rybo Handicap Hurdle listed contest, the Honeysuckle Mares Novices Hurdle Grade 1, the Boylesports Handicap Chase listed at Fairyhouse on Sunday, the Willow Warm Gold Cup on Sunday, and the 3 mile 5 furlong Boylesports Irish Grand National Grade 3 at 5 o'clock on Monday. Barry, as always, is with us, but our very special guest this week, Brian O'Keefe from Boylesports. Brian, great to have you on again. It's been an exciting few weeks, obviously, with Cheltenham just behind us. It was pretty emphatic, and we had some spread of winners, but now it's on to national season and the Boylesports Irish Grand National on Monday, the feature at 5 o'clock. And as from a sponsorship point of view, Brian, it's a great association Boylesports have now with Fairyhouse, not alone just with the Boylesports Grand National.
Yeah, absolutely, David. I think this is our 12th year sponsoring the big race. It's become Ireland's richest jumps race as well under our tenure as sponsors, worth 500 grand now. Incredible field as well. It's great to see so many British entries. We had a British winner last year, so that's encouraged hopefully a few more to come over this year. But yeah, no, we're very proud to have that association with Fairyhouse. The team there do a brilliant job. John Sheridan, their new general manager, this is his first year. This is his first Boylesports Irish Grand National working at Fairyhouse. Brilliant team behind him. Gillian Carey, the social team headed by Jane Carpenter as well. So doing a brilliant job at Fairyhouse. It's not just a race, I don't think, the Boylesports Irish Grand National. It's part of Irish folklore at this stage. And it's that association that we're very proud to have.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Barry, it's always a brilliant race, isn't it? The national. I think every one of, probably all three of us, if we were to reminisce, we could go back to our childhood and memories of the Grand National. For you, have you any particular Irish Grand National memories over the years?
Yeah, Thunder and Roses, the double ladies, of course, Katie Walsh and Sandra Hughes. I think it was 16-1. I think that was a good success. Desi Scal. It's Ladies' Day on National Day. I think that was the commentary. Thunder and Roses. That was probably one of Desi's last commentaries of the Boylesports Irish Grand National. But that's one that sticks out. Our Duke, of course, off of big weights. Robbie Power winning the race as well, Dave. I think last year, to be fair, the Champ.ie Horse of the Season, Haughty Calora, was to back up what he done at Cheltenham and to go on and win last season. I think, that was a really good training performance from Rebecca Curtis in particular. They're probably the key ones that stick out to me, Dave.
Yes, absolutely. I remember Paul Carberry and Bobby Joe. What a ride that was. Followed Ruby Walsh around and jumped beautifully to go on and win the big race, the Irish Grand National. Right, well, before we look ahead to the 5 races, Brian has kindly given us 2 tickets, 2 admission tickets for the Boylesports Irish Grand National to give away on Monday. We'll be announcing the winner on Sunday. And all you got to do is enter your 5 cast selections, 5 selections for the following races in the comment section below, and we'll put you in the draw to win those admission tickets to the Boylesports Irish Grand National on Monday. Right, before we kick on, we're going to hear now from our very special guest this week, a little clip from Colm Murphy, who we'll hear from later on in the show.
She's in good order. we don't want to see how much fuel is in the tank. We'll wait till Sunday.
Yes, welcome back. Looking forward to hearing from Colm in more detail later on in the show. Right, gents, we have 5 races to get stuck into. Brian, I'm going to come to you first as our special guest. We're going to look ahead to the 2-mile handicap hurdle on Saturday. It's at 5 o'clock. It's a listed race. Cracking little contest on Saturday at Fairyhouse.
Yeah, it's always a tricky one, isn't it? The rival to get a handle on. But one horse I'm hoping does rock up here, David, is St. Bacco for Willie Mullins. Took a tired enough fall at Cheltenham, to be fair. So not the most ideal preparation, but I think a mark of 137 suggests he's got a big chance here. I know Paul Tennant rode him in the Grade 1 at Naas, the novice Grade 1, when he finished behind Sortudo. He's a big drifter that day and disappointed a little as well. But it's that debut win that's really caught my eye when he took care of Lazard the Star pretty readily. And I think that gives him a bit of a cracking chance off 137. They talked him up plenty after that race. And if he can get back to the form of that run, I think he'll have a good chance here. He's entered in 2 Grade 2s across the weekend, but it's the handicap I hope he goes for off that mark of 137.
Yeah, and of course, last year's winner is entered in the race as well. Lord Erskine, what a story that would be. This is some little horse, isn't he, for Harry Rogers? He's in the entries at least for the race. Barry, what's your take on it? What do you like in the race?
Yeah, I think Willie Mullins could have a really strong hand. No surprises there, Dave. I think I am looking towards the bottom end of the weights. Brian mentions St. Bacco. I actually like St. Luce. I thought she was really good. It was a really good run, I thought, to be fair, in the Martin Pipe. She was only beaten a handful of lengths, 5 lengths in total. It was a much better effort, I think, than what she showed at Leopardstown in the build-up to the festival itself. I thought it was probably the best performance of the season from her that we've seen. So she looks a little bit progressive there. She's only had the 9 starts. She was 1 from 8 heading into Cheltenham, but she was an eye catcher. I think she went, she was held up. She came from off the pace and she came off the bend about 10 wide. And she got shorter room as well up the running as well. So with a clearer run, I thought she could have even got closer. She's 3 pounds lower in Ireland, Dave, and she'll have just 10 stone 3 on her back. Willie, of course, won the race with Risk Bell a couple of seasons ago, 4-year-old filly. St. Luce, look, she's 5. But I just thought down the bottom end of the way, it's 10 stone 3. 8 of the last 10 winners of the Roibo, Dave, carried less than 11 stone. And I just thought if she'd better look and running at Cheltenham in the Martin Pipe. And that always is traditionally a race that has horses in there that are, well handicapped. We saw Gallop in the Champ, obviously, win the race in the past. We know what he's done. Wood, who obviously gone on to Grade 1 success at the festival this season. So it always throws up, I suppose, a horse that's could be a lot better than their mark. And this horse I thought would have went a lot closer. St. Luce, had she got a little bit more luck and running, there was just no gaps there. There's a wall of horses. And, for her to finish as well as she did over 2.5 miles, the step back and trip, I think, will suit her as well. So St. Luce, Dave, we don't have prices at the moment, but I'd be very interested in her in the Roibo course on the competitive handicap on Saturday's card.
Yeah, I'm going to come to you then, Barry, on the 2.5 mile Honeysuckle Mares Novices Hurdle. It's a Grade 1, of course, and Bambino Fever, obviously, entered in the race. So too is Old School Outlaw. And I suppose we have to draw a line through Bambino Fever's run at Cheltenham. I think was beaten very early on in the race. But look, if the real Bambino Fever lines up here, probably has to be the starting point, would you imagine?
Yeah, look, David, I actually was looking at the race itself, and I was anticipating to see some big price winners of the race, because we saw a couple of, good mares maybe bouncing the race in the past, but favourites actually surprisingly have a good record in the race. 5 of the last 10 winners were sent off favoured. Old School Outlaw, she has been well back, Dave, 7-4 at the moment, from 5-2. Looking at her overall form, I suppose, Dave, she's really progressive. She has course form. And I thought, given the ground situation as well in Cheltenham, Dave, in the Mares Novice, I thought it was a really good run and an eye-catching run, to be fair. Mark Walsh wasn't overly hard on her. The ground was against her. She was a big drifter on the day. For her to finish second, I thought she was one of the horses you could take out at a festival. That being said, Gordon, 2 winners from his last 33 runners. That would be a concern. And I just think there's 2 mares in here who have to be taken very, very serious. One is Zanoosh for Colm Murphy, our special guest. But she's had plenty of racing, Dave. Look, she's had 6 runs so far this season. She's been busy. The other one, however, is House Hannah. And I just think if the favourite didn't maybe give her full running here after heading to Cheltenham and running such a big race, maybe House Hannah could be the each way playing the race at 7-1. She's a 7-year-old, Dave. Didn't see the track for quite some time. A 7-year-old with only 3 runs on the track. She obviously came from the point-to-point scene, but I thought she showed plenty of pace in her bumper at Punchestown in January time. And I just thought the thing that maybe could swing it in her favour over Zanoosh and how she could reverse the Limerick form would be the step back and trip number 1, Dave. I think that would be more suited to House Hannah. And the ground, I don't think is going to be as testing as well, Dave. That's worth noting. Obviously, we're talking about Sunday. There is 6 mil due, I think, late on Saturday evening. But I don't think that's, look, I just think the little bit of nicer ground at Fairyhouse and the step back and trip might just swing it in House Hannah's favour. She's an each way price, Dave. She's 7-1. The favoured is £6 clear of Zanoosh. And that, I suppose, that Limerick form on official ratings. But there is a possibility maybe she, Cheltenham, how much did that race take out of her? So House Hannah, a fresher horse, Dave, more to come from her, 7-1 each way.
Jerry Hannon might be giving the old Zanoosh the run up the Fairyhouse up to the winning line at the weekend. Brian J.P. McManus loves to have his winners around this time of year. We know at Fairyhouse, not that he doesn't at every meeting, but Fairyhouse always he seems to produce 1 or 2. What's your fancy for the race?
Yeah, I'm going to be boring, David. I'm going to go with Old School Outlaw. I thought, as Barry said, the ground was against her at Cheltenham. She probably wasn't ideally positioned either throughout the race. I think she'll take a big step forward in what was already a big run there. Zanoosh is proper interesting as well. I'd like to see Colm Murphy back in the winner's enclosure with a Grade 1 winner. Just one word mention. I thought Carrignamorna Spruce was really, really well backed at Cheltenham. It all went wrong at the start for her. Interesting to see the Bahrain boys have bought into her as well. I'm sure they'd like some black types, so maybe she's 1 each way. But I think if the rain keeps falling at Fairyhouse, I think Old School Outlaw is going to be very hard to whack here.
Yeah, it's going to be a very good race to look forward to, right? The third race of our 5 cast that we look at on the show this week. We've got the 2 mile, of course, we're looking at the 2 mile Boylesports handicap chase, the listed contest. That's at Fairyhouse on Sunday. It's the 4:25. Good entry, Brian. What have you come down on?
Yeah, it's a cracking race, isn't it? I've come down on one for Ian Donoghue, who's another man that loves his winners at Fairyhouse. Break My Soul. She's been a brilliant servant for connections since coming from Nicky Henderson, and she's run into plenty of right ones as well. Lossiemouth, Kitzbühel, Stateman, Cala Conti, Romeo Coolio, and she ran an absolute stormer in the Grand Annual at Cheltenham. She wasn't beaten far behind Marta Tor in 3rd place. Jazzy Matty filled the 2nd, and she's only a pound higher now, her Irish mark. So I think she's got a big chance here, David. She's off 136 or 137. Yeah, I think she'll go very well for a local yard. And
Barry, your selection?
Well, Brian mentioned a local yard. I'm going local, Dave, but I'm going to Eddie Cawley's yard, and I do believe that Come Walk With Me. Albeit he's been frustrating to follow, Eddie loves to target this Fairyhouse meeting traditionally. This has been the plan all season, and I believe Come Walk With Me. Both codes, both disciplines, hurdles and over fences off 125. Could be one of the best back, handicapped horses. I think they've, in both codes at the moment. I just think he's really well handicapped off that. Look at his hurdles form. Sounds victorious. Honesty Policy that went on obviously to win a Grade 1 at Aintree and was a leading contender for the Stairs Hurdle this season. He's a really good jumper of a fence. He caught my eye at Navan, Dave, Come Walk With Me. I do believe it was his 2nd start over fences behind Final Demand. That was a really good run. He has obviously been given a handicap mark of 127 and has been dropped 2 pounds to 125. So that was interesting in its own right after Leopardstown, that beginner's chase run last time. 2 miles. That's as far as probably he wants to go at the moment. He's plenty of pace. He's a good jumper. The only thing to say, Keith Donoghue has been riding him. I'm not sure. Obviously, Break My Soul has been mentioned already. She's a mare that will have to carry a nice bit of weight. This horse, it'd be interesting to see who does take the ride, because I don't know whether Keith will be able to take the ride on Come Walk With Me. But I just think he's really interesting off his mark for Eddie Cawley, a local stable. And look, he's had 9 starts in his career, yet to get his head in front. But I could see plenty of cash about for Come Walk With Me. I think he's a talented horse, well handicapped.
Brian, before we head into our first ad break, in the way of offers for Boylesports, obviously I'm sure there's plenty of them over the course of the weekend at Fairyhouse, and not alone that, but each and every weekend and each and every day, in fact. But maybe you'll tell us about a few that we have for the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, David. The two standouts are money back if you're second to the SP Fab all across the weekend, every single race at Fairyhouse for online customers. So do take advantage of that if you're willing to take on a favourite. And the big one, we will be 6 places from declarations for the Boylesports Irish Grand National. So do take, again, advantage of that. It's going to be a cracking race. It's always nice to have a couple of extra places on your side. So once decks go live, all the way through to the off, 6 places in the Boylesports Irish Grand National.
Now boarding the train of thought.
Calling out. Injury lane. Statminster. Opinion Circus. Last Chance Cross. And decision time.
Back yourself. Boylesports.
Well, you're very welcome back to the second part of the Champ.ie Horse Racing Podcast. And we are on to, can you believe, episode 29, season 7. And we would like to thank you all for your continued support throughout this season as we come to the end of the National Hunt season in the next couple of weeks. But it is Grand National season, and we are looking ahead to the Boylesports Irish Grand National. That's going to come in a couple of moments. Next, though, lads, we're going to look at, Barry, going to come to you first on the fourth race. We're going to look at the 2 mile 4 furlong Willow Warm World Gold Cup. It's a grade 1. Willie Mullins, he's got plenty in here, and he's got plenty of good chances, you'd imagine, as well as he always does.
Absolutely, David. He's trying to eat into the prize money, the gap, I suppose. Gordon Elliott, what a pace he's set, and Willie Mullins, this is one of the big ones he's going to be targeting over the weekend, Dave. He's won 6 of the last 7 renewals, and I think this could be pretty straightforward. I'm going to keep it very simple on this one, Dave. Cappaja Pike, saved for Fairyhouse. Many people were talking about this horse as an Arkle horse, but I actually think over 2.5 miles, he might be that little bit, stronger. He always seems to do his best work at the finish of his races. He showed a good turn of foot, to be fair, at Punchestown when winning when last seen. And that form has worked out really strong, Dave. Jacob's Ladder was second that occasion. He's got on to win, on 2 occasions since and has improved the guts to 13 pounds. So the form looks strong. There is an interesting one in there who is form tied in with him, and that's Predator's Goal. But I just think, all things being equal, I like what I've seen from Cappaja Pike, thus far over fences. He seems to be, he seems to jump fences really, really quickly, which is a positive. And as well as that, the ground as well, Dave. Soft ground, good ground. He's won on both types. The rain on Saturday night, I don't think is going to inconvenience him, whichever way the ground, it turns up officially. 5-2. I'd say he'll be back, Dave. Willie Mullins' record in the race will tell you, if Paul Townend picks this fella, he's going to be very tough to stop in this. Cappaja Pike for me, 5-2.
Yeah, and he was very impressive, I have to say, at Punchestown. Brian, anything outside of Cappaja Pike for you, or have you anything else picked out against him for the race?
Yeah, Barry's going for 1 stepping up and trip. I'm going for 1 stepping down and trip. I think Western Fold has been screaming out for 2.5. I don't think he's stayed on either occasion. He's gone over 3, whether that was at Down Royal in Open Company or at Cheltenham in the Brown Advisory. I just think he's a rock solid horse. Won a Galway plate off 148. He beat Affordale Fury at Goring Park as well. Thought he did run well at the DRF when not staying behind the horse of Willie Mullins, Cade Doughty. And back to what looks to me his optimum trip. I think he's definitely overpriced. Although I agree with all Barry has said about Cappaja Pike. I think he could be rock solid at the top of the market. And I imagine he will go off shorter than the 5-2.
I'd imagine he'll be very well supported. Well, lads, this is the one that everyone is going to want to hear your thoughts on. It's the big one. It's the Boylesports Grand National, 5 o'clock, Easter Monday. What a race we have in store. Brian, as you've mentioned already about the extra places available at Boylesports on the big race. But now let's delve into it. What do we like, and what's the value maybe for some of those extra places that are on offer?
Yeah, look, David, I think it's easy to see why the Ben Pauling horse is at the top of the market. The Jukebox Kid, the form of his Ascot run 2 starts ago has worked out really, really well. The second Monregard now rated £10 higher. And fascinatingly, you don't often see the Irish handicapper lump English horses with a couple of extra pounds, but that's exactly what Shay Quinn has done. So that's really, really eye-catching to me. Couple I like at prices. I do like Follymaster for the Drapers. I think he's around 25-1. Does have to get in. I think he's 51st on the list at the moment, so it does need plenty to come out. but they've had this race in mind for a long time. He ran over 2 miles last time, stepping right up to 3 mile and 6. But the one for me is probably going to be Waterford Whispers. He's turned into a bit of a cliff horse for myself. Really well backed into Kim Muir at Cheltenham. I don't think anything really went right for him that day. He made a mistake midway, then he got hampered after, couldn't really land a blow. But I think there is still juice left in Waterford Whispers, Mark, and I'm going to give him one last chance.
Yes, you got to have a big chance. Brian, just before we come to Barry on the Grand National, what are your thoughts now with, heading into this weekend? Willie Mullins obviously behind Gordon Elliott in the Trainers' Championship. Do you see Gordon holding on this year to win his first Trainers' title, or are we going to see the Mullins train roll into Fairyhouse and really close that gap ahead of Punchestown?
Yeah, I think Gordon's probably the most pessimistic man in the world when it comes to the Irish Trainers' Championship, giving himself no chance. Look, there are a few pivotal races this weekend. Willie's got a really strong hand in most of them. Albeit Gordon, I'm hoping he wins the Honeysuckle. I'm hoping he wins the Willow Worm as well. But I don't think there's anything that can stop that train rolling from Clough-Sutton, is there? Especially as we get towards Punchestown. We've seen Gordon hold substantial leads going into those 5 days before, and Willie Mullins has just eaten into them. I'd like to see Gordon do it, I have to say, but David, I'm sorry. I think it's Willie's.
Barry, Will the Clough-Sutton train steamroll on the Grand National on Monday? What's your take on the big race at the moment?
Well, the month of February, I suppose, Dave, Willie Mullins building up to the festival itself, he just really turned it around, didn't he? Strike rate was, off the charts, in the mid-40s heading into the festival itself. And obviously he had a tremendous festival. So I think it definitely has very much swung back in Willie's favour, especially with all the racing to come and all the prize money at the weekend. And just the race itself, I suppose, Argento Boy, that seems to have attracted plenty of support. And I thought he ran an absolute cracker, Dave, in the Brown Advisory. He missed out by just a pound getting into the National Hunt Chase, which was the route that Hottie Calore, of course, came from last season. And Argento Boy, I suppose, if you stop the tape, Dave, or stop the video, with 2 fences to jump, swinging into the straight on the old course, this horse, was absolutely banged there. He looked to be tanking, on the wide outside, and he swung about, very wide off the bend. The old course at Cheltenham, the bend can be really, really sharp. It actually cut final demand out, but this horse lost quite a bit of ground off the bend. And when his race chance was over, I didn't think Danny was over hard on Argento Boy. He seemed to blow up, and he wasn't hard on him. And I just think coming here, stepping up and trip, this horse wants further. He's bred for further than 3 miles, Dave. He's a terrific jumper of a fence, Argento Boy. Not the biggest individual in the world by jukebox jury. I think he'll relish the test. I think he's made for the winner's bumper at Fairyhouse, and I can see why the support has come for him. He's 9-1 in the market. Better Days Ahead is another one that would have been on my short list after his comeback run of a hurdles, where he ran really well, and I catch a run behind Staffordshire Knot at Navan. Has since run once over fences as well. So his prep, he's a course winner. Better Days Ahead. He'll have plenty of weight though for Gordon, and we did mention the strike rate. I think that's Gordon's best chance in the race. 14-1. He would be on the short list for me, Dave. But the one I like in the race, Dave, and I've liked him for this race for quite some time. Soldier in Milan, for the handicap genius that is Emmett Mullins. Paul Byrne owned. 10 stone 1 this horse will have, Dave. He's that typical sort of profile that that novice, unexposed novice coming into the Boylesports Irish Grand National. He's 7 years of age. With just 5 starts on the race course. I thought, to be honest, looking at his bumper form from last season, look how it's worked out. He beat King Rasco Gray, and that's gone on, obviously, to win the Turners novice hurdle at the festival itself this year. So that's gone on to achieve a fair level. This horse didn't run over hurdles, straight over fences, which I thought was an interesting piece of campaigning in its own right. And 4 starts over fences to qualify, has been handed an opening mark of 142. He was a really impressive winner of a point-to-point, Dave, back in the day at Monk's Grange. He's all stamina. This horse, he's your typical, to use the cliche, Dave, old-fashioned stay-and chaser. Don't worry about the lack of experience in handicaps. He's really laid back, a really good jumper of a fence. He jumps like a seasoned handicapper. And, the Gorham Park beginner's chase form seems to have worked out well as well. And if you look at that form, when he did win at Punchestown over Fence's Soldier in Milan, I thought he was really good that day at Punchestown. That form, Kisswill was second. He's well found in the market for the Boylesports Irish Grand National, but he was a good fifth, Dave, in the Jack Richards. Now, this horse could have went to Cheltenham, but they saved them for the Boylesports Irish Grand National. Soldier in Milan, Dave, 12-1. I could see him definitely going off single figures. And we've had, in the last 3 years, Dave, in the Boylesports Irish Grand National, the last 3 winners of the race went off single figures. So don't be afraid, Dave. The fancied ones in recent years definitely have come to the fore, and I think he'll be well fancied on Monday.
And Brian, before we head into our ad break, we know you do so. We've seen so many great interviews with yourself and the Shark Handle over the National Hunt season. Hewick is entered. I know you've probably been in touch with the Shark. Are we likely to see him on Easter Monday? And I think he's in around 33-1, but he'll be very popular with the lots if he lines up for the Grand National after he's very good run of the stairs at Cheltenham.
Yeah, absolutely, David. I think they're leading towards Aintree at the moment, unfortunately, for Grand National Saturday, but in the 3 mile hurdle, the Liverpool hurdle. So it'll be interesting to see him rock up there. I know Brighter Days Ahead is looking at that race as well, but I think the Ballyburn news has swayed the Shark camp to look across the Irish Sea. It would have been tremendous to see Hewick in the big race, but alas, maybe next year.
Maybe next year, right? They are our 5 races looked at. Remember, we want you to put your 5 cast selections in the comment section below. And on Sunday, we will announce the lucky winner to 2 tickets to the Boylesports Irish Grand National on Easter Monday. Right, we're heading into an ad break. And right after this, we're going to hear from our very special guest this week in Colm Murphy.
Midland Travel are Ireland's leading provider for horse racing and sports packages. And they're off. Are you planning a trip to Cheltenham, Aintree or Royal Ascot?
But it's Galopin de Shaw who's galloping his way to Gold Cup glory.
Midland Travel in Tullamore have been providing a full range of horse racing packages for over 20 years, catering for all types of budgets. If the Monaco Grand Prix is on your bucket list, or you want to finally visit the San Siro, Stephen and the team at Midland Travel can help you realise your sporting travel dreams. Midland Travel are the only company in Ireland that runs coach and ferry packages from both Manchester United and Liverpool. Midland Travel also specialise in golf tours, school tours and club training camps. Check out midlandtravel.ie or contact 057 932 6777 for more information.
Looking at entries for the weekend, we have to mention Zanoosh, rapid improving mare. She's won 4 on the bounce column, including that grade 3 success last time. She must be giving her owners a great kick.
Absolutely, she's improved an awful lot this year, but then she's only 6. She's after straightening up to no end, after every run. It's phenomenal. She's putting on weight in between runs, so she's one of those mares that's just starting to mature. She's coming at the right age as well. So we're hoping she keeps progressing as the year goes on.
Are you surprised, how much she has improved? Like the guts of 20 pounds in 4 runs. Are you surprised how much she's improved?
Yeah, no, you always are, and the same every run. You're hoping you haven't maxed out or you haven't hit the ceiling, But like I said, she's mature and she's getting stronger. So yeah, you're hoping there's more to come, But it's a massive step up now on Sunday, So it's it'll be in the deep end, So yeah, we're fingers crossed. We're hopeful. We're not confident, but we're hopeful of a nice run. She seems well, and everyone at home here seems happy with her.
She seems pretty versatile trip wise. I mean, she's coming back in trip. Is that how do you think she'll cope with that?
Yeah, I don't think she'll have a bother with it. She's not slow either. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know which you would say, she had nothing but soft and heavy ground to race on all winter, so she handled that really well. I couldn't say, she wants it or she won't go on the other ground, she's a good action filly, so Listen, you're hoping she will. It's always a little worry in the back of mind when they do handle the soft to heavy really well, and she seems to handle it really well.
How tough or difficult a decision was it for you and the owners, I suppose, to bypass Cheltenham and to come to Fairyhouse a fresh horse?
Yeah, it's always hard to when you have something that's good enough to go. It is hard to stay at home, but at the same time, there's plenty of nice pots here. She picked up a nice pot in Limerick, so it takes plenty of them to go to Cheltenham and come back again and run well again at the festivals. So you're hoping that's a little plus on her side. But touch wood, there's always next year, and you're hoping you should be better again next year.
The stable, of course, in the past has done really well with mares, the likes of Valor de Vedettes, Impervious as well. Went on to have Cheltenham Festival success. I suppose Zanoosh as an individual, does she compare in any way to some of those good fillies you've had in the past?
I suppose she's plenty of ones behind her name now. That's the best comparison as such. She's one of those. We don't work them hard. We don't find out how good they are in between races. And like herself, she just does a routine work in between races. So it's hard to quantify how much she has improved between races. But she's in good order. We don't want to see how much fuel is in the tank. We'll wait till Sunday, and you're only hoping there'll be enough in it,
And heading into the weekend, it is a grade one, obviously. What do you think are her biggest attributes heading into the weekend?
She's not as hard on herself. She's starting to race a little bit behind the bridle, and I think she's plenty of pace, and she stays really well. So they're all the things you need. There'll be no hiding places in these races. So we'll be hoping for a nice run. The only problem is she's going there at the end of a plenty of races. Unfortunately, there's only so many times you can run them before you start going the other way. So, but she seems good and well, so we'll be hoping for a nice run.
Moving on to the Boylesports Irish Grand National Easter Monday, Gaurav Matagut looks to have the ideal profile for an Irish Grand National, Colm.
Yeah, no, he's another one of those. He's improved all season as well. He seems good and well. He'll be in off a nice weight as well. So yeah, again we're hopeful of a really nice run. He's come out of Nace well the last day. So yeah, it's been all roads towards Fairyhouse now. Yeah.
And I suppose at Navan last time was his first run over fences beyond 3 miles. How do you think he coped with that, and how's he come out of the race?
Yeah, no, he seems good. Again, every time you run him over 3 miles, they do get races, but he seemed to come out of it well, and it's just I was probably he probably got a little bit. You're hoping he got a little bit lonely in front and so forth, and so it'll be a relentless gallop now on Monday. It'll be from start to finish, so you have to stay really well, and he's going to have to brush up on his jumping a little bit. He still can be a little bit novice, but yeah, no, if everything does line up for him, you'd like to think he should run well.
Novices, second season novices, that type of profile have a really good record in the Boylesports Irish Grand National. He is only 6 though, Colm. I suppose physically, do you think he's up to the task?
Yeah, it's the same. It's all it'll be a case of how much ability he has. Again, we're going into the unknown a little bit with him. So but as regards credentials at the moment, he has what you'd be looking for going there, So and it'll be fingers crossed. You're hoping a lot will go right on the day as such, yeah.
I suppose sneaking in off a low weight, that'd have to be a big positive in a race like that, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Same. They'll be. It's the likes of them. They're unexposed novices. So you don't really know what's under the bonnet. But yeah, it's like I said. It's another one. Yeah, there'd be no way confidence or anything like that. But you'd be very hopeful, and he's a nice one to be running there.
Yes, you're very welcome back, and great to have heard there from Colm Murphy as well, and the very best of luck to Colm with his entries this weekend. Right, a big thank you as well to our finance partner, Alonit, who are powering our video production and, of course, highlights reels on social media, and keep an eye out for plenty of those. Right, well, we are coming to the back end of the show. Lads, we've got the all-weather finals, Brian, as well, on Good Friday to look forward to. Always a great day, isn't it? We're going to hear in a couple of moments from Stephen Thorne, but always a good one, Good Friday, those all-weather finals.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not too long ago, David, we had no racing on Good Friday, so any racing at all is good for me, even if it is the all-weather. I can't nail my colours to the flat mast in the weekend that's in it with the Boylesports Irish Grand National, but lots to look forward to. Lots of Irish entries as well, which I'm sure will attract plenty of interest from punters.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's now time to hear from Stephen Thorne. We're going to get his thoughts on the runners he's bringing across the Irish Sea on Good Friday.
From Dundalk to Longchamp, from the Galway races to the Breeders' Cup, Shamrock Thoroughbreds recently celebrated their 100th winner, and Ireland's leading racehorse syndicate has taken owners all over the world. Shamrock Thoroughbreds founder, Stephen Thorne, remarkably won the Winter Trainers' Championship at Dundalk during his first season as a racehorse trainer. To experience success with Shamrock Thoroughbreds and Stephen Thorne Racing, check out shamrockthoroughbreds.com.
Yes, we're coming to us live from his second home, just outside the stable yards in Dundalk Racecourse. Stephen Thorne, what a winter it's been once again for yourself, and of course building up to the Flats campaign. Going to get your insight and some of the horses you're looking forward to over the turf campaign. But 40 winners up as a trainer, Steve. Another fantastic winter, and looking forward to racing on Good Friday. Sir Les is out once again.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. Yeah, we're all systems go for Good Friday with Sir Les Patterson. Travelled over there this morning and should be, arriving there very soon. So fingers crossed, we're looking forward to him. Obviously, we've had a lovely sort of start to the year, 5 winners, and we're hoping to build now heading into the turf campaign. And we have plenty of nice horses to come out now over the coming weeks.
£8 he got from the handicapper Sir Les Patterson for that win at Dundalk in his prep back on the 20th of February. But seems to be a horse really on the improve.
Yeah, look at he's just gone from strength to strength. The December win was ultra impressive. He gave him 9 for that, and again we've had 2 rail draws. Maybe it's made him look a little bit more impressive than if we were drawn a bit wider in either of those 2 wins. But we've given him a full month off between December and February, because I deliberately wanted to have him short, because we're going to hopefully have a busy campaign now during the turf season with him. I'm hoping he's just not just an all-weather horse. So he's been primed for this. And as I said, the last day he received another 8, and we weren't expecting him to do what he did. The work between then and now, he was very good last week, and we're expecting a big performance on Friday. Obviously, we know it's going to probably have to be the performance of a group horse to win it off 107 top weight, but Jack Carney knows him well. He'll take the 3 off. We're drawn in the middle, so I think it's a safe bet there, being in the middle, and I'm quite confident.
Do you think he'll end up a group horse, Steve?
Look at it from the work he showed from day one. To do what he's done now, he's a completely different horse. He was very unexposed when we bought him over the sprint trips. And he's by a champion sire in Zoostar, a champion sire in Australia, and has worked very well up here in Europe. And they're very good looking, big, strong horses. So this horse, might have just needed a little bit of time to develop into his frame. But and as we know, these sprinters can get better with age. So I'm hoping this could be his year. And yeah, the work has been showing that he is showing signals that he could be. and I'm hoping the handicapper was right, after his performance the last night.
You mentioned physically, I mean, he is, isn't he? He's a bit of a monster to look at, isn't he? He's really well built, this horse.
He is, yeah. No, he's a very imposing horse physically. Like on the ratings last year when we bought him, he was only rated in the low 80s, and I think he was 90 on the all-weather. And a lot of people argued that I give too much for the horse in the ring on the day. Harry Eustace didn't want to lose him, so he knew the potential the horse had, and I had to fight off the Bahrainis in the ring. So I came home thinking that we probably did overpay for him, but it's looking the total opposite now. He's looking like maybe the best horse I've ever bought.
Kurdos, he achieved a fair rating, and so you must be looking forward to seeing him in Cork.
Yeah, another horse that we bought there in October. We gelded him over the winter months. He's 6-year-old now, so not getting any younger, but he's in great shape. We ran him up here in the conditions race there in February. Just wanted to get him out, see where we were with him. He was only just ready to start. The Valiant Force put him away very easily, but he has thrived since that, and he's hard fit now. So the Cork Stakes Saturday, Easter Saturday, looks a nice starting point on the turf. He's a winner of the Group 2 Temple Stakes 2 seasons ago on soft ground. So I'm hoping the easy 6 will suit him well. He's switching off well in his workouts at home. So I'm hoping that he will get the 6. And if we're placed, we'll be heading to the Woodlands at the end of the month with him.
You must be looking forward to seeing Mayflower out soon again.
Yeah, obviously, she changed hands last year after she won at Leopardstown. We bought her the Craven sale for off Robson Aguirre for 50 grand, and she won the maiden very well in July. She was always going to be more of a 3-year-old type. So look, we've sat and waited, and I didn't want to run her up here on the poly track in the winter months. We think that much of her. So the work has been good. She had a lovely racecourse gallop around Leopardstown a couple of weeks ago, and she went very well with a couple of my older horses. So she'll be ready to start in the trial, and that'll tell us where we're heading to then, further down the road. But the Leopardstown Guineas trial on Sunday week is her plan, and we'll see where that takes us then.
Tell us about, I suppose, at the moment, Steve, how people watching the podcast can maybe get in touch and get involved with some of the breeze ups.
Yeah, the model is working really well. The last 4 years, we've just had a lot of success, and we Tiger Bell, winner listed in Group 3. She was bought in Doncaster for 70. She took the lads to the Breeders' Cup with several other maiden winners. Obviously Mayflower last year. Jack the Bachelor ended up a 90 rated 2-year-old last year as well. Won a lovely rated race in Cork, worth a lot of money. Rush Queen was another one that won her maiden Listowel. She got black type place. Shamrock Breeze was another maiden winner, and she also got plenty of black type as well. So we've had a lot of luck buying these breezers, and it's a lovely model, that we can focus on the older stock, for the winter months at Dundalk, and then the 2-year-olds can come in the spring, and there's plenty of time there to line them up and get them ready, and they'll tell us when they're ready and line them up accordingly. So obviously we're open for fresh investment. And you can contact me on all the social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Stephen@shamrockthoroughbreds.com by email, and I'm free for a call at any time if anyone wants to get more information. So, as I said, it's a model that's worked very well in line with the form horses that we buy, examples such as Sir Les Patterson, Far From Dandy, Instant Appeal, those type of horses. The Breeze Up model is a lovely sort of a combination of both.
What else have we got to look forward to, I suppose, in the next, 4 to 6 weeks, early part of the season, apart from the ones we've mentioned?
Yeah, look, they're the main bunch that we have. Far From Dandy ran a lovely race in the Irish Lincolnshire, finished 4th. We brought him back to Doncaster there last week for the Spring Mile, and he didn't disappoint. He was a lovely second. So we have a nice pot picked out there in Newbury there, the middle of May for him, 75 grand, 105 mile race. So he'll head back across the water there. I still have another nice horse that we picked up in October called Jagged Edge. He was entered for the Irish Lincoln. Just a little bit of a respiratory issue there. We're just going to sit and wait. But he's a lovely horse. He won the Irish Cambridgeshire last year, and he'll be a lovely horse for the likes of Derby Weekend and the Galway Festival, etc. So two nice horses there, solid horses on top of the ones we've mentioned that, you know, will definitely be winning races through the summer months.
Will be
Yes, and you're very welcome back, and the best of luck to Stephen Thorne this weekend as he travels across with plenty of good chances across the Irish Sea. Right, lads, before we finish up and the Boylesports Irish Grand National weekend, it's time for best bet selections for the weekend. Brian, as you're our special guest, we're going to give you first dibs on your best bets for this weekend.
Going to be boring with the first one, Dave. Straight to the Honeysuckle Mares Novice. I think Old School Outlaw is going to take plenty of beating in that. And one, maybe for the next best at a bit of a price, Shuttle Diplomacy on the Sunday. I'm hoping he rocks up in the 2.5 mile novice. Thought he ran a really eye-catching race at Cheltenham when not beaten far in the Turners on ground that probably wasn't ideal. So another one that wants a bit of rain, but if he rocks up there, I think he's got a cracking chance and he'll probably be a bit of a price.
Barry?
Come walk with me, Dave. 125 over fences for Eddie Cawley, I think, at Fairyhouse. I think he's nicely handicapped, Dave. So one strong bet for me over the weekend. Come walk with me. But I am very, very interested in Soldier Milan. I think he's a lovely profile for the Boylesports Irish Grand National on Easter Monday.
One that's entered at Fairyhouse over the weekend at the moment. Keep an eye out for Amen Kate. I thought that ran a very nice race considering how it was left so badly at the start at Cheltenham. And if that gets in, it could be potentially a very nice each way price. Well, that's it for another edition of the Champ.ie Horse Racing Podcast. A big thank you to Brian O'Keefe of Boylesports for joining us this week, to Barry Doyle and myself, David Byrnes. We'll be back with you next week and we'll be looking ahead to the Entry Grand National. Have a great Boylesports Irish Grand National weekend and happy Easter to you all from us all here at Champ.ie.
McCafferty's traditional Irish bars are located across Ireland, the UK, Spain and the United Arab Emirates. With authentic Irish decor, each McCafferty's venue is crafted to reflect the charm and warmth of a traditional Irish pub. When the horse racing is live, there is a McCafferty's traditional Irish bar located near you. McCafferty's bars provide the perfect backdrop and atmosphere to watch all horse racing and sports events, serving traditional Irish food and music played 7 days a week. Is your horse racing group planning a trip to the Dublin Racing Festival, the Epsom Derby or the Dubai World Cup? Then be sure to pop into the local McCafferty's traditional Irish bar either before or after racing. Can't make it to the big race day in person? Then why not enjoy a cold pint in Spain for Cheltenham or a creamy pint in Donegal during Aintree? Come to McCafferty's for the crack and stay for the experience. Check out McCaffertysBars.com.